Hi folks, this is Duncan Macklin with Operandus, and today I'm your Cyberskills Coach. We have some exciting news coming out of Washington, D.C. this morning. Center for Internet Security, or CIS, released version 7 of their controls for basically helping you protect and defend your organization. Many of you have heard of the CIS Top 20, and probably more specifically the Top 5. The reason those top 5 are highlighted is because it's kind of the 80-20 rule, right? So you're going to get 80% of the benefits of the CIS Top 20 by focusing just on those top 5 controls, and those alone will probably end up stopping 80% of the attacks that come into your environment. So the big news is release 7 of the CIS controls. And there's two major themes that are occurring with this particular release. The first of which is really just simplified language so that it does kind of fall in line with some of the other frameworks that exist out there like NIST, and being sure that it's easily consumable by the masses, and simplifying the languages, making it easy to understand and easier to have internal audits that do involve other frameworks, and making sure everything's concise, clear, and everybody knows what's expected. The second and probably bigger theme of this particular release is really around one ask. And by that, I mean for each sub-control underneath the CIS controls, there's going to be one individual ask per sub-control. Each ask is going to have one measure. So the theme is one ask, one measure. Now, with that, because now we've simplified the controls, and more importantly, those sub-controls to only have that one ask per sub-control, now we can start to think about process automation. We can think about things like dashboarding, and ultimately how the use of the controls, the use of automation, the use of dashboarding ultimately helps us with our audits. So I'm going to take each one of those independently. Talk about the automation, talk about the dashboarding, reporting capabilities, and then auditing. So first and foremost, the automation. By having each one of these sub-controls have a particular ask, we can look for that ask as a configuration item on our endpoints and be able to build some process automation to look for that specific control, enable, disable, whatever the ask is on those endpoints. And then potentially building in additional automation to be able to remediate non-compliant systems, so we can ensure not only on the day of deployment of, let's say, a new Windows Server 2016 or new Windows 10 box or a new Debian server out there, we're able to not only measure that first day of deployment, but that 365th day of deployment, and being able to know over that year these systems have remained compliant with these particular controls. So I'm really excited, not only from baselining and being able to inventory these systems to identify their compliance and remediate their non-compliance, but also what that allows us on the back end, being able to bring this information into products like Microsoft's SCCM, or let's say Avanti's solution for endpoint management, or semantics, whatever the case may be, whatever you're using out there, being able to build some of that process automation into this. And secondly, back end, our SIMs, and being able to bring these controls and the discovery data we're pulling from endpoints into our SIMs to be able to identify potential threats to the organization. And being able to, again, potentially build some process automation from our SIMs, and being able to do things like remediation, alert notification into our SOCs, NOCs, whatever the case may be. But again, it starts with that one ask and that one measure per ask. and each one of those is part of that one sub-control of the CIS controls moving forward. So I'm very excited about that. All of that, of course, leads into our second item, and that's dashboarding / reportability. So now that we have all this information that we've gathered, we've potentially done some remediation, we're reporting this information back into our enterprise management solution or into our SIMs. Now we're able to level that stuff up into dashboarding capabilities or simple reports, and being able to potentially automate even that part of it, so that we're taking the technical folks out of the picture, from having to provide these reports, and it's just part of our automated process, and it automatically goes to change management, maybe goes to legal, goes to the CISO, whoever the case may be, but we can automate some of that process, or build dashboards so that they can pop into those websites and be able to pull up the necessary dashboards and see, the bits and bobs that they're particularly interested in. So again, I'm just thinking, this is all very new. It only happened this morning, the release, but my mind is just spinning 1,000 miles an hour about the capabilities that this one ask, one measure provides for us. And then lastly, auditing. Big capabilities there. We've already talked about reporting and dashboarding based upon what our baselines are and compliance with those baselines and remediation of those baselines, and being able to articulate all this to an auditor. Now you potentially have the answers to the questions that they're going to be asking you. There's nothing worse than being asked a question by an auditor that you're not prepared to answer, but they're prepared to ask, right? So being able to have that visibility in what's going on in your environment, using the CIS controls to help you there, you can only benefit. So if you're not familiar with the CIS controls, I highly encourage you to take a look at the CIS website. Just go to cisecurity.org/controls. I'll put that link in the notes if you're watching this on LinkedIn, or if you're watching it on YouTube, just to make sure that you're able to access that. But again, it's cisecurity.org/controls. And again, Duncan Macklin with Operandus. This has been another episode of your Cybersecurity Coach. Feel free to leave some comments in the section below. Let us know what you think. Take care. Have a great day.